Hey, what's going on, fellas? How we doing? Matt Antonelli here. Today, answering your questions, talking about making adjustments as a catcher to help your pitcher out who may be struggling with command on that day. So, there's going to be days, obviously, where, and it's always different. Sometimes as a pitcher, you're not going to be able to throw the ball down in the zone, right? You might just be up with everything, okay? There's going to be certain days where you just can't command it to a certain side of the plate, okay? So it's always changing, and as a pitcher, just like with any position, your job is to make adjustments, and you're going to have to constantly make adjustments throughout the game, okay? So what we're talking about today is how the catcher can help the adjustments become a little bit easier, but also as pitchers, trying to figure out, okay, how do I adjust and what's the best way to do it? Now, what I see happen a lot at younger levels especially is when a pitcher is struggling on that day with something, let's say he's really just missing up in the zone and he can't figure out how to get the ball down. Well, a lot of times you'll hear the coaches or the catcher start yelling mechanical things at the pitcher, or the pitcher will come in and say, what am I doing mechanically? Well, you've got to drive to the plate better, you've got to get your back flatter, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. That can be really difficult for a pitcher during a game to make those adjustments, right? Most of the mechanical adjustments typically are going to be, in the bullpen, during the week, before, at practice. Sometimes you can work on some things before the game. When you get into the game and the bullets are flying, sometimes it's really, really difficult to make mechanical adjustments, right? Because now all of a sudden you start thinking about things, and instead of just pitching, now you're focusing on, okay, what's my body doing here? What do I got to do? And it becomes really, really difficult to pitch. So one thing I heard when I was in the minor leagues, one of our catching coordinators talked to the guys about, it's as simple as trying to get your pitcher to just aim differently. So literally, it sounds really simple, but if I'm missing high, the adjustment in the game sometimes has just got to be, listen, I've got to make an adjustment. I got to throw the ball down, right? If I'm missing glove side, let's just say I'm missing here all the time. Well, I've got to adjust and I've got to try to aim here more, right? So it's just like anything. If you're a sharpshooter or whatever, you're shooting at target practice, your adjustment typically is going to be, okay, for whatever reason today, if I'm missing right, I've got to aim left. If I'm missing up, I've got to aim down. So that's the tip for the pitcher, right? Very, very simple. I've got to make that adjustment, and I've got to trust it. A lot of times guys don't want to trust their adjustment. They just keep throwing and say, well, maybe magically the ball will start to come down, right? Nothing magically isn't going to happen for you. So I've got to trust and say, listen, I'm up. I've got to work down. I've got to make an adjustment. If I bounce a ball, who cares? At least I've made an adjustment. I'm getting closer. So as a catcher, your job is to give a target and call a certain pitch that will help your pitcher. So if my pitcher cannot get a ball in here, right? I can't get it in here. Well, I've got to adjust and set up maybe even more in, okay? Maybe I'm setting up, let's say I'm setting up, right here every time. So here I am, and I'm setting up here for a fastball, right here, okay? And I'm high, and I'm high, and I'm high. Give a target lower. Don't be afraid to set up here. Give them something different than what you've given every other time, right? If I'm constantly setting up here, and he cannot throw the ball here, I've got to get lower, right? If I'm throwing, again, if I'm missing at a certain place all the time, if I'm setting up here and every ball is going here and I want the ball out here, I need the ball off the plate, don't be afraid to set up off the plate a little bit more, because now he's going to make an adjustment, throw it here, and now maybe he's able to at least hit this part of the plate. But if I'm just setting up on the corner and nothing is coming here, everything is moving in, or vice versa. If I want the ball in here and everything is out here, out here, out here, out here, set up more inside. Don't be afraid to move inside and make him really try to get the ball in. That's the only way typically in a game that you're going to really be able to make an adjustment on the fly without being able to break down all the mechanics of how he's throwing. If I'm up, I've got to aim down. If I'm in, I've got to aim out, right? I'm just going to move left and right, up and down, change my target, and hopefully that will help. Again, we're just trying to fix it. We've only got a short amount of time. We don't have a whole lot of time in a game to come up with this big elaborate plan on, okay, let's break down the mechanics. I've got to make something quick, or else I might be out of the game in 10 seconds, right? So hopefully this helps you guys. Again, I know it sounds really simple, but I've seen it work with guys by just changing how we're trying to throw it as far as up or down, left or right, and make those small, tiny adjustments within the game. So let me know if you guys have any more questions. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. I'd really appreciate that. Give it a thumbs up. share with all your friends. Also, check out our Instagram page, Antonelli Baseball, and our Twitter feed, Antonelli9. We're posting videos all the time for you guys. Check out our description box below where I put links to a bunch of books and training tools that we use with all of our players. I think you guys will like those. Also, check out our website, AntonelliBaseball.com, to find out how to try out for our teams. We've got tryouts coming up, and also how to work with us. And that's all I got, fellas. Thank you again. I hope this helps. I appreciate you watching, and we'll talk to you later.